I've run through a lot of lost sectors the last couple weeks. Most of my time was spent in the legendary version because master lost sectors were a little beyond my reach with their 1280 recommended power levels and just stacks and stacks of modifiers that make them look about as fun as slamming my head into a wall. I took it upon myself to go through the mental suffering of spending dozens of hours grinding through so many master lost sectors to save you all from the frustration I felt. In this video, I want to go over everything I learned after running over 150 master lost sectors so you can make the best decision for yourself. Should you run master lost sectors at all? And if so, what are the best ones to farm in? Hi guys, I'm Legionless and this channel is about helping you enjoy your games more. If you want to enjoy your games more and get recommended more Destiny 2 content on the channel, like specific guides for running each lost sector on Legend or Master difficulty, or maybe you want to know the god rolls for the new Beyond Light weapons you can get, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video to help me out. I want to first be very clear that my sample size is nowhere near large enough to be able to accurately, with almost no doubt, determine what the exotic drop rates are. Realistically, we need thousands if not tens of thousands of data points. That being said, I think 150 data points from one person is enough to give you the information to decide whether or not you're going to engage with the content or how you plan to engage. With that disclaimer out there, there's a few things I want to say about master lost sectors in a general sense after running so many. First of all, they are exactly as punishing as you think they are if you're just looking at the recommended power level and all of the modifiers on top. I certainly got faster and more efficient each one over time, but really the heart of what I wanted to know going into this is if the frustration is really worth it. I cannot explain how many times something stupid would happen that would just make me rage out of my mind. And I like to think of myself as a fairly calm and collected person, but I'm pretty sure my cat was getting concerned for my sanity. Did you know that if you slide on Behemoth Titan with Cryoclasm, that you come off the ground just a few inches at the end of the slide? I didn't realize this either until I was getting one shot by Void Blasts that were doing double damage to me because the modifiers on the Lost Sector would add 50% more damage to Void, and then I take more damage from it for being quote unquote in the air. This is the level of mental anguish you're gonna go through. So let me go through each lost sector and report the number of runs I did, how many exotics I got, and a couple thoughts on that master lost sector for you. I started on Exodus Garden, which was dropping gloves on the day I was doing it. I did 21 runs and got 6 exotics with a pretty high average time to clear of about 9 to 10 minutes. None of these were Icefall Mantle, by the way, since I already got it from a Legend lost sector weeks before. This lost sector was easily the one that caused me the most fails and was generally just full of really annoying stuff. There's overload champions that teleport a million times when you throw a grenade. That's gonna disrupt them, so they just peace out and you're left without a way to stun them. There's barrier servitors that make everything around them immune to damage, like those very annoying overload champions I mentioned. And then the cherry on top of this sandwich is the attrition modifier. For those that don't know about attrition, you basically stop regenning your health, and the only way to get it back is to pick up little glowy things on the ground from enemies you kill. It's extremely frustrating to play around when everything does big splash damage to you, so you're not even safe if you take cover because you can just get hit around a corner and die. Needless to say, this is 1,000,000% a master lost sector I do not recommend you run. On the next day, I ran Veil's Labyrinth 50 times, got only 5 exotic chest pieces, and straight up thought this lost sector was bugged until I reviewed the footage. I legit thought there was something wrong with this lost sector because it just wouldn't be surprising after Bungie did whatever to it when they patched you being able to jump from the start of the lost sector to the end and kill the boss in like 30 seconds. I honestly wasn't seeing it say that I was getting a platinum completion when I was running them, so I thought there was something going on that prevented the platinum reward drop rate from applying to the chest. When I reviewed the footage from every chest opening, I saw the single frame where it says platinum completion before it gets removed from the screen by all of the other junk going on. This lost sector is easily the one I recommend farming in the most because it was the fastest to run, even if it just seems like my luck was really bad. The extra damage your arc weapons do and how easily accessible it is to get an arc SMG for the barrier champions just make it a pretty chill lost sector to farm. Having no overload champions was also a big advantage. Concealed Void I admittedly didn't run very much because I only had time to run it 9 times. Of those 9 runs I got 3 exotics and averaged about 7 to 8 minute long runs. This was my second most hated lost sector because of many of the same problems as Exodus Garden. Overload champions being protected by barrier champions, but in this case you need to do a ton of jumping and platforming because you take extra damage from arc, which is what the floor is made up of in half the lost sector. The catch is that you also take more damage while in the air. Bunker E15 is my second favorite lost sector to recommend farming. I ran it 40 times and got a whopping 17 exotic boots. Running Falling Guillotine with sword bonds on your armor just makes this lost sector night and day more easy to run on master difficulty than not running a sword. My runs were averaging between 6 and 7 minutes, and the only real annoyance here was overload champions and not really having a way to just nuke the boss with the sword for DPS. Attrition was also pretty annoying to deal with, but felt more manageable because Falling Guillotine gets a 50% damage buff in this because of the increase to Void, so you're always going through enemies and picking up the healing to regen health. Void splash damage all over the place can definitely suck when 1 minute you're full health and then next you're dead, even with Void resist and concussive dampener on. The exo frames help quite a bit with crowd control, killing a lot of the Vex goblins for you. Perdition I ran 31 times for 4 exotic gloves, again none of which were Icefall Mantle. Perdition falls right in the middle of love-hate for me. It's got the same stuff I hate about the other lost sectors, like increased damage in air and increased damage from Void. It's literally so bad that wyverns just delete you if you try to sword swipe them, so they make the middle section of the run extremely frustrating. This lost sector did teach me that you can kill the boss before killing all champions and still get a platinum rating when you pull the chest, so it wasn't a complete waste of 6 to 7 minute average runs. So here's the key takeaways from 151 master lost sector runs. I spent between 15 and 18 hours just from successful runs for 35 exotics. This doesn't include the runs that ended up in a waste of 6, 8, 10, or however many minutes because of a wipe near the end. This doesn't include load times or breaks that result in you having to drop onto the Cosmodrome or Europa and spend forever driving your Sparrow to that lost sector nowhere near the landing zone. On average, an exotic dropped every 4 or 5 runs. With a short lost sector like Vale's Labyrinth with a 4 to 6 minute clear, that's about an exotic every 20 minutes. With something much longer like Exodus Garden being closer to 10 minutes a run, you're looking at nearly 40 minutes in between exotics. All of this doesn't even take into consideration just how mentally taxing it is to spend hours and hours in some pretty frustrating content. Champions are worth their own talk another time, but there's nothing more demoralizing than getting a barrier champion to a pixel's worth of HP and they just regain all of their health back. It's rage-inducing feeling like you have no control over overload champions that spam teleports a million times, that can literally start healing themselves before you're able to disrupt them again. How the only meaningful way to engage with champions is to insta-melt them with a sword that does a ridiculous amount of damage compared to any other weapon or weapon type in the game. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Stay in the Legend version if you value yourself at all. Master Lost sectors just aren't worth it for the trouble and the time when Legend can be completed in less time and with less frustration. I'll do some more research into Legend drop rates soonish after I've recovered mentally a little bit. We can directly compare how long Legend runs are to Master, so we can definitely have an answer on which is better to grind if your only goal is to farm exotics. If you want to enjoy your games more and make all of this work that went into this video mean something, share this video with others so they can enjoy their games more, and like this video to help me out. Subscribe to the channel so you get notified when the video comparing Legend versus Master Lost sectors comes out, and thanks for watching.